Hello, I am Rico Cavella, and this is your Ageless Body Self-Care Guide, Operations Manual for your body and for your mind. And the title of today's topic is behavioral modification. And this is so important because, as you know, this whole project is about how to better take care of your body and your mind so you can live a much healthier, energetic, long life and go out and make a bigger difference in the world. But the thing is, if you haven't learned how to change some of your habits and some of your behaviors that aren't serving you, then you're probably not going to be able to actually take the advice of and recommendations of all our experts and actually make it happen. So we're going to learn from a great expert today. Our guest expert today is Charlie Cropley. He's been a practicing naturopathic doctor, a teacher, and author in the Boulder, Denver area for the past 35 years. Dr. Cropley has trained hundreds of doctors in his methods of nutrition and self-healing. He is the author of numerous articles, several books and courses, and he frequently lectures at the colleges of naturopathic medicine and is widely regarded as one of today's leading thinkers and teachers in the philosophy and practice of self-healing. So Dr. Cropley, thanks so much for being here.
My joy. Thanks for having me, Rico.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. And this is going to be, like I say, I think what I'm really looking forward to, a really beneficial topic that we're going to go over today. And I have to tell you, I was just looking at your website, and I really like a statement that you have on your website. And that statement is, we heal these roots of sickness in ourselves, not through force and self-coercion, but through compassion and wisdom. And we learn to love ourselves wisely in the ways we perform our most ordinary everyday activities. I'm so on board with that. You know, my ageless living lifestyle that I teach, it's what I've kind of boiled it down to is all the things that we're doing every day just to stay alive, like breathing and drinking and eating and moving and sleeping, all those things, but we're just not doing them to the best of our ability. So it's all about just changing those habits and so that serve us better. So that really brings us to our topic of behavior modification. So how about we start with just give us an idea of what you have discovered. What are some of the main reasons and causes that people just aren't taking better care of their health?
Well, among my patients, I think it is, they would say, a lack of time. And I accept that that's very much true. If you take a single mother with two children who is working, it is very difficult for her to care for herself. And in the frantic pace of today's world, I think time is a major reason that people don't take care of themselves. There's others that I would include as well. It is that often in our culture, our culture on the whole does not take care of itself. If you look at the standard American diet, the number of people who do not exercise, who don't have any type of regular self-reflective practice, that our relationships, our culture works to have us addicted. But the greatest that I would say is a lack of clarity on people's part of the amount of suffering that they presently experience and that they will experience by not engaging in these activities.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, I don't know why, you know, we've, like as you say, our culture has gotten so much into this rush, frantic pace that stresses, first of all, stresses everybody out, which is a root cause, and it's all about the big money chase, and we just haven't been taught that really what the most important thing is to be healthy and be at peace with ourselves, right?
Right.
And so Yeah, so it is. It's actually it's a major problem that we have to really teach people that how. And hopefully, the whole COVID thing is that I'm hoping that at least one of the good things that's going to come of it, that more people will wake up and realize how important it is to take better care of their health. As you know, it's all about, how strong is your immune system, and so that's such hopefully people realize how important it is for them to be more. Engaged in actually taking responsibility for their own health.
Yeah.
So, given those are the situations, so what did you decide what kind of process did you develop that you could help people to learn how to be aware of their behaviors and how they can change some of those?
Well, first of all, is that I'm a naturopathic doctor, so so most of my clients have chronic degenerative diseases, be it cancer, MS, other autoimmune conditions, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, so on. So my patients come to me they come to me wanting help. And because I'm very straightforward in what I do, so my patients come to me aware and looking forward to learning the behavioral changes that will benefit their illnesses. So what I have learned is that first of all is that people want to change, and inside they want to change. And so I work with that. And one of the first questions I ask my patients is, what is the good that you want? And I will send them home with a video and an assignment that I call giving voice to your goodness. Talk about, give voice to what is the good that you want in your body? What is the good that you desire to bring about in your mind and your emotions? And what is the good that you want in your relationships? And then the other that I do is to ask them, what is it that you do not want, that you fear, that you do not want to come about in your body, in your mind and emotions, and in your relationships? And that is that process of clarifying what we most desire and what it is that we fear, abhor, do not want to happen to us is that is step one in changing behavior. So that's one small piece, but so let me just pause there.
Yeah, no question. It's all about clarity. I mean, I totally agree with that. First of all, we need to realize what really is truly important in our lives and what our lives are about, and that I believe that we're all here with a divine purpose, and we all have talents and abilities that we can serve and make a difference. So when people really become more clear on really what's important in their life and how they want their life to go, I think that's exactly right. That's the first step. And I think I think the challenge is for so many people, again, they just got caught up into just reacting and get caught up in this fast-paced life, and they don't take the time to really see what or even think about what's truly their life, they want their life to be about. So that's, clarity is really the very first step. Well, after that, so once they get a little more clear on what they really want in their life, then what are how do you go about helping them change or create some habits that are going to help them create that?
Yeah, well, I'm an educator. That is I don't use medicines or therapies. I teach people how to heal themselves by their own actions. So the next step that I take is having a discussion with my patients about relationship, and beginning with, with our relationship to illness, and then discussing relationship regarding what is your relationship with your body.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'll pause there and tell you a little story about how I work with relationship between my patients and their body. And my patients will lay out to me the suffering that they're experiencing with their disease. And after listening to them, at a point, I will ask them what is it like for you living in your body, and talk about what it's like for you. If it's frightening, if it's painful, if it feels hopeless, what's it like for you? And then I will ask them, what do you think it is like for your body to live with you? And at that point, most of my patients take a long pause and say, I've never thought of that.
Mm.
So the topic of relationship is where I begin and ask them about their relationship to their disease, their relationship with their own self, and then with their body, with their mind, with their relationships again. And further, I may ask them about their relationship to eating, their relationship to movement, right? And I begin this with, I again send them home with a video that is called The Wisdom of Illness. And we are here dealing with their relationship to illness. And The Wisdom of Illness portrays the naturopathic model of toxemia, and which, to create the short version, is by our actions, we are either poisoning our body or purifying our body. We are either weakening and stressing our body or strengthening our body through our actions. And so what happens is, as the body becomes poisoned and fatigued and stressed, what happens is that it has to have a means of recuperating its energy and eliminating the poisons. The means for doing that is acute illness.
Mhm.
Sore throats, headaches, bronchitis, bladder infections, so on. And if it is understood that while painful, this illness is beneficial in the means by which the body eliminates poisons and rests and regains its energy, if it's understood, then we can work in harmony with that. But in conventional medicine, we are taught to treat the illness with a pharmaceutical and try to make it go away. And the pharmaceutical basically suppresses the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a cough, whether it's a diarrhea, whether it's a fever and perspiration, whatever it is, the medication is intended to suppress that. If you suppress the body's cries for help, what happens is those cries for help become more frequent, more severe, until they grow into a diagnosed chronic degenerative disease. So the point of this is to shift my patient's relationship to illness, and to see that in fact the body is calling for our attention and asking us to examine our behaviors, our eating, our movements, our thoughts, and our relationships. And if we examine those and look and say, well, I've been eating poorly, I've been drinking too much coffee, too much wine, eating too many sweets, I've not been getting enough sleep, I've cut back in my workouts, I'm really stressed at work. All of these are areas, are what the body is calling our attention to for us to go to work on and change. And so changing my patient's perception and understanding of their illness and coming into a nonviolent relationship with it is the beginning. And then having illness be a messenger that then directs us to inquire about our behaviors.
Yeah, so well said, Charlie. Really well said. And I totally agree with that. Yeah, so what I'm getting is the first thing we need to do is, you mentioned like on your website, we need to love ourselves more and be clear on what's important. And then to really realize that our challenges are really, truly are our blessings, and our body speaks to us if we just pay attention to it, and that illnesses or whatever challenge we're having, it's really something we need to learn, and it's actually there really there to help us. And I like your point you made too, that we're still in our mainstream society. It's like you got to fight against it. You got to have a war on cancer, or you got to have a war on this. It's always about fighting a war instead of realizing that it's just a message, and that you need to learn how take responsibility yourself and realize that you can heal yourself. So I totally agree with that. Okay, so then once people get to that space, then what are the ways can you actually, because then they realize that they need to modify their behavior of how they're thinking and how they're eating and how they're sleeping and all these things. So what are the things that you start with, and how to get them to motivate them to actually begin to take make some of those behavior modifications?
Mm-hmm. So I begin, for example, my patients understand that it makes sense to them. It makes sense to everybody that illness is a message to us to change our self-harming behaviors and to implement self-healing, self-caring behaviors. So then I look at the 4 behaviors: eating, movement, thinking, relationship. And in their eating, for example, I have them keep an eating journal. And with my patients, I used to sit and evaluate the eating journal so that I could determine what changes need to be made. I still do that, but I also have my patients read their eating journal to me, and they tell me the things that they realize are harming them, and that they chose to have this pizza on this day because they were out shopping and didn't have time to get something else. Or they tell me about their relationship with coffee or with wine, and I learn from them. I learn what they already know is harming them, and then begin the process of have a discussion with them about does this habit have you, or do you have the habit? Does coffee have you, or do you have coffee? Because when coffee has you, it's harming you. As long as you have nothing inherently wrong with coffee or wine or sweets or anything, it is when they become compulsive and compel us to indulge beyond what is beneficial. So I collaborate with them on what they recognize is harming them and feel that they can change. And then further, I do a lot of education in nutrition. I have videos that I have people watch, and information on different aspects, be it how carbohydrates affect us, how fats affect us, so on. And begin working with them in that way with their nutrition, and have them regularly keep eating journals that we go over together, so that they're getting feedback constantly, and they're well supported. They feel my support, knowing exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's so well said, and I'm sure I do a lot of the same things as well. I'm sure you find the same thing, that once you get, I like how you really brought out the point that people inherently, they know what they're doing that's causing most of their own problems. So they just have to be able to finally, you know, recognize it and admit it. And then you can move forward in that. And don't you find too that once you get people to go through that process that you just mentioned and begin to eat, you know, taking better care of how they're eating, how they're exercising and sleeping and reducing stress and all those things, if they just get them to stick with it for a while, they're going to feel so much better so quickly. Then that's the motivation to keep them going.
Yes. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me speak about movement. I'll
Mhm.
speak about each of the behaviors if you would like me to.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
movement, um, there is, well, I'll walk you through what I show people. But again, movement is about our relationship with our body,
Mhm.
and it's more than simply trying harder at what you're already doing. And so I, everything that I do is founded upon that is founded upon kindness. My patients come to me seeking help because they're trying to befriend themselves and help themselves and care for themselves. That's an act of kindness. And you don't produce kind results by threatening oneself and coercing oneself and criticizing oneself.
Mhm.
It's a path of kindness. So with movement, for example, the foundation of the movement that I teach my patients, assuming that movement is a module or a behavior that this patient really needs to focus on, right? I teach them three things, and we can do this process right now. We'll do it in 2 minutes here. The first one is breathing. So in this moment, you can do this with me, Rico. Let's notice our breathing and simply feel the sensations of breathing. And marry that with our intent to benefit ourselves, that our breath benefit us. Allowing our breathing to lengthen, to soften. And while breathing, notice the relaxing effect of breathing and deliberately allow yourself and allow your body to relax. So we're breathing, we're relaxing, and the third is to find the ground. Right now we're sitting, so we press our sits bones into the chair and ground over our sits bones, allowing our body to relax the weight into our sits bones. Similarly, we press our feet into the ground lightly so that our legs become tonified and we are grounded and our upper body is supported, relaxed, and we breathe. Now, when I teach workouts, we begin there, and then throughout the workout, let's say it may be yoga, it may be other types of movement, but throughout the workout, the focus of the workout is breathing, relaxing, and finding the ground, right, in whatever we're doing. And that then is how I teach people to work out. And I take people who are they're too fatigued, they have no energy, they're not able to work out, and begin with those with them, and particularly with using their breathing. Because the essence here in all of the behaviors, eating, movement, thinking, and relationship, is the intent to be kind to ourselves. And for a person who is bedridden, they can breathe and use their breath to relax, vitalize themselves, right? And then it's the same. This is the core that goes through each of the behaviors. So, and it especially comes into play here in the next one, which is the mind and our relationship to our mind. To take a common affliction that we all share, anxiety. And so with anxiety, the question is, what is our relationship to anxiety? Is our relationship to anxiety, can we form a non-violent relationship with our anxiety, a caring relationship with it, just as we would have, as I described previously, with our disease, with a cold, with a diarrhea, that we recognize there's a wisdom here, that it is our anxiety. Anxiety doesn't exist out in the world like a microbe that infects us. We are producing it. So we then use this kindness to ask our anxiety to speak to us. Tell me what it is that you're anxious about, and why does this make you anxious? And in listening to our anxiety, I teach my patients to speak to their anxious self, telling myself, Charlie, I am with you now. Be present with me in this moment. Relax, breathe, ground. I will help you. I will help you to heal your anxiety, to soothe yourself, to understand what your anxiety is asking of you, and to be able to make those changes. So here we see, or another example would be persons who are critical of themselves. We all are to some degree, but many people are haunted by self-criticism, judgment. And again, I have them develop a nonviolent, more caring relationship with their self-critical self and say, tell me, what is it? Go ahead, speak to me. Tell me what you're critical of, which is hard to listen to, but we listen. And then in my case and in my patient's case, I say to my self-critical self, why are you doing this? Why do you criticize me so bitterly and so harshly? And the answer that I get is, because I care about you. I don't want you to suffer. Look what this is going to cost you, drinking this much wine or doing this or not exercising. Look at this. I want the best for you and you won't listen to me. And there is a relationship that I can form with my self-critic, that I work with my anxiety, or my self-critic in this case, to like a loving parent does with a child. I am teaching them how to behave in a better manner. And I have grown up my self-critic so that now he is one of my inner community that I call on and say, I need to hear from you. What am I doing wrong here? Right? But it's a healthy critic whose voice is appreciated, and not one that just compulsively and unconsciously berates me.
Yeah, Dr. Charlie, that is so good. It's such great information. And, you know, to kind of summarize it and what I've got out of it, it's first of all, we all need to learn to love ourselves more and to realize that whatever our health challenges are, they're really for our own good. And we need to build our relationship, have a different outlook, as Dr. Charlie mentioned, with all these health challenges that we're having, and that you can self-heal. And Dr. Charlie, he's healed so many, helped so many people heal, and you can heal yourself as well. So it's just about, again, just being self-aware and realizing that your body is there for your own good and your mind, and you just have to tune into it and learn to listen more, and that you can change your behavior and you can heal yourself. So Dr. Charlie, that was so good. I really appreciate that. And I want to remind all of our viewers that along with this video, you're also getting an audio and a transcription. There's a PDF that comes with this as well. So I know Dr. Charlie has a lot more to offer you. I know he has a lot of information on his website and has some training or coaching, or all of our experts have so much more to offer to you. So be sure and check out the PDF. And if you need more help, be sure and contact Dr. Charlie. So I think the message here is that you know, you definitely can change your habits for the good. You can heal yourself. You can love yourself more, and just if you really will pay attention to all of our experts' recommendations and actually begin to implement some of these recommendations, just like what Dr. Charlie has given us today, you will greatly improve your overall health and well-being, and you can live a much healthier, energetic, joyful, long life. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, Charlie?
It is for me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. It was so good. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Rico, thank you so much.